talking about like rights, because that's just, I think, a different lane, right? We're talking about the rights of women. When I think it's debatable, right? Because I found one thing, you found one thing. I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor. I think we leave that up to the professionals, right? Hi, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Welcome back to another episode of Technically Speaking, where we are giving you news
that you can use.
And you already know.
Oh yeah, we got a special guest, and Bobby, I'll let you introduce our special guest. We got two.
Yeah, we got Amanda in the waiting room. The waiting room.
Let's bring Amanda in.
Which Amanda?
Welcome, Amanda. State your name, where you from, and what you claim.
Hey guys.
Hey Amanda. Welcome.
Hi Amanda. It's nice to see you.
Amanda.
Hi.
Gentlemen, I would like to introduce you to the Sanford sisters. That's all three of us. Same mom, same dad. I'm the best looking one out of all of them. All right, we got it going. We got Amanda, we got Samantha, and Bobby Lopez, one and only.
All right.
Nice. Welcome. Thanks for joining us, ladies. Oh yeah. Got another episode 20. Ladies, thank you for joining us for episode 20.
Hello.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for having us. Yeah.
I got a chance to meet them at Bobby's birthday party. She had finally turned 21. So, you know, we got to hang out.
Now you can drink.
Yeah.
That's good.
Joining us, man. We're gonna have a good show tonight. Let's jump right into it. Dr. Poole, you live on IG. We see you, bro. Thanks for showing that love as always. And hey,
Dr.
man,
Poole, if you want to be part of the virtual audience, let me know.
Hey, Dr. Poole, Corey said if you want to be part of the virtual audience, let us know. He'll get you the link so you could join us. Chime in. We'll give him a minute before we jump too deep into it. But actually, let's just jump to it. We'll give him some time. Anyway, starting off, man. Man, you know what, man? We gotta pay respects to a legend, a fallen legend, Quincy Jones, man. We lost him yesterday at the age of 91.
91.
Long life.
Yeah, long life.
Yeah,
I mean, long.
I would rather it be at that age, right? Like, because we've covered some lost artists and talent that died way too early, right?
Right.
Right. But I want to. He said, "Okay, sure." So if you could shoot that to him, Corey.
Okay. Tell him stand by, like high five.
Stand by. All right. So jumping into it, I just want to start out by sharing a quote from Elton John. Elton John said this about Quincy Jones: "He played with the best and he produced with the best." What a guy. And what I want to share is a couple of snapshots, because there's a lot of stuff Quincy Jones had his hands in that a lot of people don't know. Let me start you off with Frank Sinatra. Anybody in here ever heard about, Frank
Sinatra?
So if you ever heard any of his live performances, he would always say, and we got Q on the drums. You know who that Q was he was talking about?
Quincy.
That was Quincy Jones, baby. Yeah. So he actually produced 3 Frank Sinatra albums. It Might As Well Be Swing, Sinatra at the Sands, and LA Is My Lady. Those are 3 Frank Sinatra albums that Quincy Jones produced. And then I'm gonna hit you with another song that everyone knows this song, but you probably didn't know that Quincy Jones produced it. Y'all want to hear it? Here it goes. Yeah. It's my party and I cry if I want to. Cry.
Wow.
Cry if I
did not know that.
You would cry too if it happened to you. Quincy
no
Jones.
No more. We can't get no strikes.
No, we don't need no more.
Quincy. We need to keep the Technically Speaking channel up.
All right. I'm gonna keep it going. So here's another one that Quincy Jones produced that was huge. Hey, Corey, I know you know this one back in the 80s, dog. Remember that? I'll be good to you. Good to you. Good to you. I'll be good to you. Good. Yeah, that's back in the day, boy. Ray Charles and Shaka Khan. Shaka Khan. Hey, man, he was getting it in. What else? So, for those that didn't know, he was the executive producer for The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yes, I knew that. And I have a story behind that.
Tell that story. Tell that story.
And because we're gonna, you know what I'm saying, we want to be humble and respectful to the invisible guests, which are the topics. So, real quick, Quincy Jones gave Will Smith, when Will Smith was broke, and now when I say broke, I'm like, he was like broke like real people broke, like, you know what I'm saying, not like he made a bunch of money in the music business, and I read this off of Will Smith's book. He made a lot of money and went dead broke, and he was in Los Angeles, and Quincy Jones pulled up on him. He was like, hey, you that guy, you know what I'm saying, Will Smith? And he was like, yeah. He was like, well, come to this party. And he was like, Quincy tells you to come to something, you go.
Oh, you going.
So as he was there, Quincy Jones was like, hey, I got a show for you. And he was like, a show? Like, yeah. So he was like, okay, well, it's this guy who came from, at the time it was Maryland, but he was like, I'm from Philly. He was like, okay, we can do Philly. And he was like, okay, well, I want you to audition for it. And he was like, now? He was like, well, everybody in this party to make this show happen is in the room. The lawyer for the NBC was in the room. The person who signs off on all the shows, the green light episodes from pilots, is in the room, and Quincy's lawyer is in the room. And he's like, can I do it next week? And Quincy was like, yeah, you could do it next week, but next week comes, it's no guarantee that you're gonna get this opportunity.
Ooh.
Right? Everybody is in the same place at the same time. Will Smith go into a limo. Quincy told his driver to get out the limo, let Will get familiar with the scripts. Then that was it. Will Smith came into the room with everybody, not just the lawyer. The executive NBC was there. Everybody was there. And boom. Next thing you know, he auditioned and he's in there.
We got in West Philadelphia, born and raised.
On the playground is where I spend most of my days, chilling in and that's it. Hey, we can't get no more strikes.
Yeah, no more copyright.
Shout out to the Dodgers, though. Hey, yeah.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying? Don't throw no gang signs up, G-Mo. We see you. You know what I'm saying?
All right, let's finish giving Quincy Jones his flowers, man. So, for those that didn't know, he co-produced The Color Purple with Steven Spielberg. Shout out on that. He won 28 Grammys, but he was nominated for over 80. He has the record for having the most Grammy nominations. Period. He scored music for some of the classic movies. The Italian Job, the original one. In Cold Blood, Heat of the Night. He co-produced The Wiz, right? Get on down the road.
Well, man, he's on down, but I'm not gonna.
He's on down. There you go. He's on down. And then I don't know if anyone ever heard of this guy, Michael Jackson.
That guy.
He produced Off the Wall, Thriller, and Bad.
Now, funny thing, do you know Thriller was not supposed to be called Thriller?
What was it supposed to be
called? Starlight. Starlight. And I heard the demo of it, and it's not bad. But Quincy was like, we need to make this a bit more darker. And you know the guy at the end of Thriller, Vincent Price, R.I.P., the one who was darkness that just falls across the land. Yeah. So Quincy Jones got him to do that part. And that, to me, is why Thriller is the number one Halloween song. Number one.
Oh, yeah.
Let me just tell you how bad that, and when I say bad, I mean good bad. I was watching Netflix, and my wife was like, "Ooh, they has a Sing Thriller." Now, if anybody's seen Sing, the cartoon with the singing animals, they know that that's a kid's favorite.
Oh, yeah. We were just watching that.
Yeah, so they made a Sing Thriller. I had chills through the whole show because I was so excited to see Thriller reimagined. So now I can sit with my baby girl, and we watched it on our date because every Friday I have a standing date with my youngest daughter.
Nice.
And I'm gonna just say this: Thriller is the best song. That song, I could be in the worst of moods, and mind you, I think I was only 4 when it came out. But
Yeah,
that
we
song,
young.
to me,
We were
yeah,
young.
young. I remember my first time seeing it. I screamed and cried like a baby. But it was one of the best songs ever because the choreograph.
Yeah.
And then at the end, yeah, man.
Yeah,
R.I.P. Michael and Quincy, man. They
yeah,
could
man. R.I.P. to that.
jams up in heaven,
Everything they
boy.
gave us. They, man. Shout out to them, man. Shout out to Quincy Jones. Rest in peace and thank you for everything, man. So, still keeping it entertainment, man. So last week, Young Thugger, Thugger, he gets to go home, dog. He gets to go home.
Are you, ladies? Because I want to make sure that they are not out of the loop. Are you guys familiar with who Young Thug is?
I am a little bit, but I don't know why. I know he went to jail, but I don't know why he went there.
He's a rapper.
He is a rapper. Amanda, for 500. Do you know who Young Thug is?
Didn't he sing like with Rick Ross?
He sure did. He had a couple songs with people from Florida, Atlanta. So here's what
On
happened.
the East Coast. Yeah, he's the East Coast.
He has this group called YSL, right? And based off the lyrics and also certain parties, he got caught up in a RICO charge.
Oh yeah.
And it was going on for almost a year, maybe 2 years, right, Gmo?
2 years. Yeah, he been in holding for 2 years, yup.
Yeah, he was in holding. There's no charges that came against him yet. They were not speculating. They were what's the word? Either way, the charges didn't
They were convicting him.
yeah, but he didn't. Needless to say, he home. And everybody in the music entertainment system, media, mogul, all of them is congratulating him. Now
He was acquitted. He was acquitted of all the charges.
Well, he had to accept the plea deal.
Yeah, he took a plea. He pled guilty. He on probation for 15 years. I don't know. I mean, like, bruh, like he gonna need permission to go to the senior citizen home.
Oh,
bruh, man,
He's not
it's on
partial
probation. He on probation. Like, I'm like, bruh, in random piss test for 15 years, bro.
hey man, he got to go home. Cause I know they were talking about at the barbershop. They were like, I wouldn't have taken that deal. I'm like, dude wanted to go home. He had been in there for 2 years. Hey man, what I need to do so I get home to my kids? Hey, guilty. Yeah, you need me to say I get to go home? I did that. Yep, I'm guilty. Yep, I'm just trying to get home. So it's not like he's ever gonna try to get a job. So his felonies doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, he never has to answer that. Have you been convicted of a felony on the application? He ain't gotta worry about that. He's a millionaire, man. He good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. He's getting other people millionaire status. Like Gunna and them. You know what I'm saying? The only thing is this. Everybody's like, man, come home and make some new music. I'm like, if I was him, I would be scared to make new music. Why? Because that's the reason why he got put in.
Yeah,
you know
so
what I'm saying?
don't know that they were using his music lyrics against him in court.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then actually to that point, Creative Native on IG said, what's that? I don't know what POD and POF is what got him involved in the RICO charges. I don't know what that is. But he said, he also said that it was kind of like a case against freedom of speech, right? Kind of, right? Because he was they were using his lyrics against him, right? So much for.
So here's the thing.
He was self-incriminating himself in his rap.
That's what they were saying.
And let's be honest. Okay, I'm playing Angel's Advocate right here, right? Okay.
Angel's Advocate. Okay.
If you known for talking about killing in your lyrics, and you known for dropping bodies, and some of the people you talk about start dying that you said you was gonna kill, bruh.
That don't look too good. That does not look too good.
You're not using your freedom well. You know what I'm saying?
I said in my lyrics, he gonna kill Lil Shorty Kill, and then Lil Shorty Kill ends up dead. That
I'm saying
probably doesn't help.
Yeah, like 50 Cent said,
sus over there.
I do not gang. I do not gang bang.
I do not gang bang.
Yeah.
Houston is
And
very
so-
clear about that.
Yeah. But I mean, you know what? Hey, you know what I'm saying? The man is home.
He's
He's
home,
not
man.
locked up in
He's
prison.
home.
He's home in a good time. He get to be with his family, holiday season. He's on probation, so he's gonna be taking them random piss tests. However, you know what? He's free-ish. He's
Free-ish. I'll take that. I'll take that. Now let's talk about someone I'm pretty sure the ladies do know, because we had some other information on someone else that frequents Atlanta quite a bit.
Houston, Vegas, later.
Who did he? I'm just
Nah.
Oh, hey, I didn't do it this time. I'm the one coming with the no Diddy.
Hey, yeah, I'm about to say nope, no Diddy. It's not Diddy.
Diddy here.
Okay.
He may have went to a Diddy party.
Yeah.
I don't know who,
Hey,
Dr. Poole.
He got slapped by Diddy. That's
He
a
did
hint.
get slapped by
He
Diddy.
got slapped by Diddy.
Yeah.
Who we talking about, Corey?
We talking about Drake. Drake is back. And me personally, I honestly, because we talking about it, I think, like, bro, you know what I'm saying? You should have just chilled out for the rest of 2024. You know what I'm saying? Because real talk, you lost. And then I guess this he's on this beef rant, because I looked at the video and the video looked amped. I ain't gonna lie, it looked like they about to do something, but then I thought about it. It's like, Drake, no, you're not a gangster, Drake. Okay, and I don't know you, I don't, but you know what I'm saying. You are worth millions of American dollars and hundreds of millions of Canadian dollars. Let's be honest, bro. Why are you trying to put up? You made it. Don't lose it. Don't turn around and be like Young Thug. You made it.
Good point.
You made it.
Good point. Guilty by affiliation,
You know
man.
what I'm
Trying to be super thugged out. Well, I want to get the ladies' take on that. Amanda and Sam, like, what's up with that? I don't. Are y'all aware of the beef that Drake had with Kendrick this year?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knew that, bro. Everybody knew.
Oh man, I can't assume. We got to ask. So 'cause there was a lyric that Kendrick said. He said, "I like Drake with the melodies. I don't like Drake when he act tough. Me personally, I don't like Drake when he acts tough. Just sing the melodies, man. Like, talk about them broken hearts, because I got some broken heart moments too. I can almost cry and ain't nobody looking, and I'm gonna say it's my allergies. You know what I mean? Like, come on, let's stick with that. What y'all think about that, ladies?
I think if Drake sticks to his melodies, he sounds too whiny.
I like it.
I like it.
I'm like, I don't need another singer, artist sounding whiny. It's just not a good look.
This generation keeps sweat. You are so right.
Ooh,
Exactly. We have
think
enough
about
of them
that.
already.
You right.
So right.
He
And
needs to sing like
Genuine.
he did when he first started singing.
I'm with that.
I like his old stuff way better than
Hey,
Yeah.
now.
So are
I'm
we
there
putting
with
him in the same like how we did? I like the old Kanye. I like the old Drake.
I like the old Drake, man. I like the
I
old
do.
Drake. Yeah, like Marvin's Room is still one of my favorites from
Yeah.
Drake.
Mhm.
Man.
October 18th is a good one too.
Yup.
Yeah.
Yup. Good point. Yeah, I don't
Is
want
it
to.
October or November, something like that. November.
No, it's
Oh.
October because
It's
his birthday
Yeah.
is in October. October is very young. That's the reason why he put out that song on the last day of Halloween, last day of October. I mean, here's the thing. You know what? We got something. I wanted to talk about something that's not on the agenda, but we're gonna respect the fourth co-host. Which is the agenda.
Hey, Dr. Poole, we see you in here. You got to turn your mic on for us to let you in.
I know
Yeah.
when the hotline bling.
Hey, he could make more songs. Don't. Remember those memes when they were doing the tennis things?
Bro.
All those memes they put-
Mhm.
He didn't make. That's the Drake we want.
Yeah.
That's the Drake. If we
want
want
that.
to listen to Drake.
I like
Hey.
the night talk too.
All right, my boy in Dexter Davis, aka Corner Store. I'm about to introduce him into the studio.
Introduce him.
Appreciate it. What's happening, everybody?
What's
Hey,
going on, Corner Store?
All right.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks for
Thank
joining
you
us.
for joining us. Let me
I appreciate that.
let me go ahead and give you guys a brief introduction to this young man, because I'm in this business cohort, right? And my man's he just got his camera on. I'm walking. He just pulled up on me, so I just start talking. You know, you put a camera in front of me, I'm gonna give you something to talk about. And then my man was like, you know what? I mean, I like this vibe. So we've been, you know what I'm saying, chatting, and then he hit me up. I was telling him I want to get him on the show. He was like, man, you remember me? I'm like, come on, man. Good people, good vibes. You can't forget.
Can't forget
This
him.
is my man Dexter Davis, aka the Corner Store Podcast. Come get something from the stove.
Thank y'all. Thank you for that introduction. I really appreciate it. God bless everybody in here. How is everybody doing tonight?
Doing
Good.
Doing
Pre-election Eve.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah. Tomorrow, finally. Let's get it over with, man. Let's go.
Bruh,
Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for November 6th. So the politics.
Yeah. I'm waiting for a
down.
week from now when we find out how many other cases gonna get his butt put in jail.
Bro. You got
Uh-oh.
Hey, let me give you a disclaimer. Bro. Just
Yeah,
let you know
you can't pardon yourself if you're not president.
well, hey. We didn't get nobody disclaimer, but hey, we
didn't get no disclaimers yet.
yeah, just to let you know.
You don't need a pardon if you didn't commit a crime.
Exactly.
So my sister Samantha here is a paralegal. She has a law degree and is quite knowledgeable on this specific instances. She knows what she's talking about. Listen to her. She knows what's up.
Ooh, that's gonna be good. So I think we were wrapping up the conversation about Drake, Dexter.
Drake.
And so Drake, we basically was saying we don't need him to act tough, but we also don't want him whining all the damn time like a modern day Keith Sweat. What's your take on him, man? Like,
we don't need no more barrettes in a 32-year-old man's hair, too. Now, Snoop can get away with that because I'm gonna just be honest with you. I know Calvin Broadus personally, and it's not like we, play pinochle together, nothing like that. But we know his background. We also know Aubrey's background, and I think he should stay in his lane and try to not be what he's. Don't try to be what you think people want you to be, bro. Just make the music and let the chips fall where they may. To me, that's the most important thing. The art form doesn't need you to play act, which, let's just be honest, folks, that's his first love. He's an actor, and I believe he's playing a part as a hip-hop artist.
ooh.
No, for real. I agree. Hey, Dr. Poole coming on in. Hold on. We got to go ahead and give Dr. Poole some intro to this bad boy. I think he was getting his hair, putting a little bit of relaxer on it. That's the reason why he ain't came in yet.
The barrettes out.
Hold on a second. Yeah, he took the barrettes out. Hey, Dr. Poole.
Hey, Donald.
Poole, welcome back again. Repeat offender.
Hey, I'm trying to
the show.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to do this on my freaking iPad so I have a bigger screen. I'm on my cell phone right now, so that's gotta forgive me a little bit.
Bigger? Okay.
Yeah.
What was that?
Big, right?
Dallas, he had that song, Get Big, Get Big, Get Big, Get Big. Let's go.
But yeah, man, what I was gonna say? I was gonna say something about Drake, but let's go ahead and, you know what I'm saying? To be respectful to the fourth co-host of the show, the topics. Let's go ahead and move right on.
So we move into another segment of the show, everyone. For our first time visitors, it's called Make It Make Sense. So we'll talk about a couple of topics.
Oh wow,
it makes sense. So starting us out, Miss Bobby Lopez. She has the first topic that we're going to talk about, and we're going to ask everyone, make it make sense.
Yeah. So make it make sense. So, as a group, we kind of go through these topics and try to figure out before you try to walk into an echo chamber, hey, do these things actually make sense? Or if they don't, is it something we can push into a segment I like to call, let's talk about it. I myself, I am a Christian. I am very conservative in my beliefs. I'm going to preface our make it make sense topic by saying I I do not support abortion or policies that support abortion. While I do understand there are some gray areas, I do understand in the instance where there is serious issues with the life of the mother. Of course, even my husband, would not agree to, to have, my life taken away for the sake of a baby and stuff like that. So we understand those are some great topics. So our Make It Make Sense topic today is, at least one of them is gonna be, how come, when a woman is pregnant and somebody kills her, the person who kills her is then convicted of 2 charges of like manslaughter. Why is it in the womb that child is all of a sudden, another person where the justice system can use to convict somebody of a second murder? But we have different people who believe that child doesn't deserve any type of rights until it's completely outside of the womb. So how do we make it make sense on that topic? I do have a news article straight out of Texas, because I live in Texas and I can only speak to Texas laws. I don't live anywhere outside of there. So there's a man in Houston. He got out of jail on a domestic violence charge and came to his wife, who was 4 months pregnant, a 4-month-old baby, and which is what, a 4-month-old baby is about the size of your fist. So still living, still breathing, can feel everything, nervous system, everything works. And he stabbed her 20 times, killing both her and their child. And so now he has 2 different charges of manslaughter, and I believe he is facing 2 life sentences. Correct. 2 life sentences. Yeah.
He made a plea deal with which gave him the possibility of parole.
Yeah, which they're probably going to deny that. Yeah.
So let's make it make sense. Why do some people say the fetus, I guess, doesn't deserve certain rights at certain points in time, but in the same breath, someone who commits murder of a pregnant person and also kills the baby gets hit with a double life sentence for a double murder charge? Let's go.
Oh, hey, there I am.
Yeah, my bad, Dr.
We're rolling in deep right now. Let's get it.
Yeah.
Sam, do you have any legal background or any type of cases, maybe without sharing anybody's name or information, where you've heard or seen something like this, or maybe why this happens in the justice system?
No,
No,
not really. But it is a question that those on both sides should think about or consider whenever we're talking about disposing of or murdering or aborting, however you want to term it, of a fetus, right?
Right.
The root question is, when does life begin? When do you consider the unborn child a human being?
Good point.
And for I don't understand why some people would
for Christians. For Christians, we believe that life begins at conception. There are 1,000 different processes that have to take place in the womb at just the right time for a baby to be conceived. Regardless of how the conception happens, it is in fact a miraculous thing that happens. Maybe not in the best of circumstances where it does happen under rape or incest. I don't think anybody wants to see any of that. However, those are less than 5% of abortion cases. We're talking about the other 95%. And this is a hot topic right now, because right now in our election season, there's a lot of hate on both sides of the aisle. But I know I've told both Samantha and Amanda that coming down on the political spectrum, it is not a personality contest, it's a policy contest. And so I want to vote in the way that I think are going to align with my biblical and moral and financial views of how we approach things. And so just, how do you address these sensitive issues? How is it that that baby's life was all of a sudden a human being when it came to convicting this guy of murder? But if that wife the day before chose to go to an abortion clinic, that child's life would have been thrown into a dumpster and nobody would have batted an eye. Why did it matter to the justice system to convict this man, but it didn't matter in this sense?
Let's go around the room. Did Dr. Poole, Dexter, did y'all get the full premise of the question?
Yeah, I had some technical difficulties, but I think I kind of got the gist of it. I don't. Doctor, would you like to go first?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah. Sorry, you seem like you was on the roll. Let's go.
Yeah, I try and stay away from abortion topics totally because it's hit and miss, man. I'm a man, so I don't have the authority to even, speak on the matter when it comes to a woman and her body. So it's really, I believe in pro-life. I'm for life. I believe in that conception thing too.
As a man, though, you do have a choice, or you.
Well,
do
you say that,
right
but I mean, if we were together and you got pregnant and I was like, "Hey, I want you to keep the baby," and you were like, "No, I'm not keeping this baby," there's nothing I can do that's going to stop you from doing what you want to do. And a lot of times, it'll get thrown back in my face. Oh well, it's my body, it's my choice. Who are you? Yada yada yada.
But if we had one man step up into that role and be like, "Hey, babe, listen. This is where I am. That child is mine. I want to see what they look like. I want to see them grow." And they have that support from a man. You can be that motivation, that guide for her. Listen, I'm not going to leave you. This is something that you and I did together. We're both consenting adults. We created this child. Then you end up robbing yourself of a legacy to create another generation. She ends up being robbed of that legacy as well. I do think that men should be able to stand up and say, I'm with you in this, rather than being getting the easy way out and be like, "Oh, hey, you want to abort it? Cool with me. No child support my way." Like to me, that's an asinine way of thinking of where you're not being accountable for those things, and your legacy is gone.
I'm gonna have to go. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna have to go with the doctor on this. This is an issue. This is a female issue. I know, we contribute in creating life, but the life is incubated in your body, so you should have total and complete control over, how. How.
But you're hearing it from a woman that it's not just a woman's issue. I've birthed children. Amanda and Samantha have both birthed children. Like, we're telling you that this is a group topic.
Can I point out real quick?
But it's a woman's decision, though. I can suggest I have 3 children. I have 2 young ladies I have 2 daughters and I have a son. And I would never, ever tell them what to do with their bodies. It's something that, speaking on the spiritual side, which you mentioned earlier, I'm a firm believer in the Almighty. There's nothing in this world that we can do without the guidance of the Almighty. So if you're not enlisting any of his guidance or praying for things that you're trying to accomplish and things you'd like to see happen in the world, it's probably not going to go well for you. That's just my opinion.
I think God wants to see life. I think he wants to see his creation.
I totally understand that, but we also live in a world where people make mistakes. Now, a mistake could be having an abortion, but it also could be something that could save someone's life as well. Mm-hmm. So it's really, really a catch-22, and there's a fine line in regards to abortion and that issue. But I believe a woman should have a right to choose what the heck happens to her body, and that's where I stand when it comes to that.
So we can kind of chill for a second and find it.
Give me 1 second. What I want to point out, right, what just happened, which y'all noticed, Dr. Poole, you witnessed this before. I think what we're witnessing here is the caliber of Texas women, because the Texas women are saying, men, you have a choice. You help us with it, right? What I'm trying to help our Texas women see is our California guys aren't used to seeing that. We're not used to seeing that. Because
girls don't have values and morals as high as they do in other places here.
And that's kudos to the Texas women out there, because Sam started out saying, no, man, you have a choice, right? But you see how both of these California guys was like, wait a minute, you're letting me chime in on this? I just wanted to point that out. Continue.
Yeah, that could be just a cultural difference and stuff, and it could just be, basically where we grow up at, where we see those from two different things. But Dexter, I like where your head is. I do see where you're going, but let's make this make sense real quick. So on the topic of bringing it back to when that is a viable fetus, that is a living human breathing being inside of the woman who is a vessel, right? We are vessels to bring life. Why is it okay for the justice system to be like, sweet, your body, your choice, let's kill those babies off up until nine months? You know what I mean? Like, listen, pregnancy is hard. That ain't no walk. that ain't no walk in the park to go nine months. And there's people out there is not funny, but like it's almost comical to think that you can abort a baby up until like the day that they can just straight up be born and be like, you know what, screw it, I don't want to do this. And so like where are we finding that
can I chime in on that?
Yeah, Corey.
All right, so I look at that as a morale situation. I'm on the same page as Dexter and Dr. Poole. We may want to, because there's been situations in the past with people where they wanted the baby, but the lady did not, right? And the lady,
the guys,
their situation.
The guys wanted the baby.
Oh yeah, there's been situations like that, of course.
You know what I'm saying? And I understand where you're coming from. It's like, well, the baby can be aborted at any given time because I feel like it, right? But then we got to look at it like this. And I haven't been pregnant, so I can't get pregnant.
You don't say.
But I do believe that when a woman is carrying the baby, she gets attached to that baby, right? And with that attachment, there is a situation where it's like, I'm going to carry this baby full term. They're not going to want to abort. I'm assuming they're not going to want to abort at 5 and 6 months because they're in their second trimester, right? So there's some attachment there. There's some commitment there that we're going to carry this baby full term. Now, granted, people are saying it's my body, my choice. It is. You know what I'm saying? A man should, like, if my wife says, you know what, I don't want to do this. My whole goal is to be supportive of my wife and say, let's carry it full term, and then we can be able to find out the options after it comes, after the baby's here. Right?
Can I ask the men something?
Go ahead.
Yeah,
go for it.
All right. Women have the choice to abort the baby, right? Let's say it was consensual.
Okay.
Both y'all knew what y'all were doing. But gentlemen,
of course. No,
okay, but here's my question.
Go ahead.
She has the choice to abort the baby, but if she decides that she wants to go ahead and go full term and you don't want to, do you have a choice as to whether or not you pay child support?
You know what? I just fell in love with you. I don't know you, but thank God you said that. Because there's a running joke that a comedian said that if a woman should be able to have a choice to either abort or keep the baby, the man should also have legal choice to whether he want to be a father to the baby or not. So
I think that's Cat Williams, right?
Yeah, let's be honest.
I thought Dave Chappelle said something on that too.
Somebody said it, and it. I'm sorry, comedians. Whether you understand that they're telling jokes, but they're also speaking truths.
Oh yeah.
And, to be honest with you, there's too many catch-22s in situations. Older women could date younger men, and they consider them cougars. But an older man dates a younger woman, they say he's some kind of a player or something like that. You know what I'm saying? There's all kind of weird, misnomers out there. But when it comes to this, I think we should probably look at that situation, because I think a lot of guys are getting played out there. I'm sure you've been seeing these videos where dudes have been paying for children up to 12 years, and then they go and have DNA tests behind the woman's back, and the child's not even theirs.
That's
You know,
wild.
Personally, I know somebody personally like that.
18 years.
I mean, come on now. This person's been invested. Now the child's going to find out that's not their father.
Mhm.
And the connection that they built and the bond they built, this dude's not going to want to not, be cool with the child anymore. It's just a lot of BS going on out there. People are playing too many damn games. And there's a person, a flesh, a breathing, blooded human being involved in a situation, and we out here playing sex games with each other and creating other people. You know what I'm saying? And that's wrong.
And it's primarily because of lack of responsibility and lack of accountability. They don't want to be responsible enough to cover it up or to use birth control.
Yeah.
Or they don't want to take accountability for whatever happened during the time that they did whatever they did.
Or it was planned all the way, or it was planned from the beginning, just like somebody cutting you off and then slam on the brakes so you hit him in the bumper.
Get the insurance claim. I saw that on IG.
It's a good topic, and I think that's a good make sense discussion too for definitely for another show, because by this time, I think this is a good topic, but by this time the kid has already been born. But I think that's a fantastic topic, Dexter, and I think that needs to be talked about, because there's the man's choice in that. I get it. Yeah. I see it absolutely from your perspective. How many men have been into that paying child support? And I think that kind of goes to the states. Do your due diligence. If a guy's going to pay child support and he requests a DNA test because he thinks his woman stepped out on him, give him that DNA test before you start touching that man's paycheck.
Or just, what I'm saying, she probably wasn't his woman. They could have just been, frequent.
You know what I mean? Regardless of their relationship.
Getting back to
there's a lot of that going on out there.
Yeah. So getting back
again,
to
lack of responsibility.
Yeah,
that's the first one. And lack of accountability.
Well, then
being accountable for your
let me touch something on real quick, G-Mar. Give me 1 second. Well, then if that's the case, then when we have these, I'm not gonna say women, I'm not gonna say men. When we have these people saying, okay, you know what I'm saying, let's just be friends, right? No commitment. Let's just see where this goes, right? You know what I'm saying? They're so quick to get in the sheets, but they so long to say I love you, right? Within that time, when you in those sheets and you're in that passionate action, you feel what I'm saying?
That's just a bed buddy.
But no, you can't say that, because
sometimes children come out of those friendships.
Let's put the spiritual hat on it.
That's true.
And then with those spiritual hats comes what? Those come soul ties. And with soul ties, whether you like it or not, you attach to that person. That's part of your body count.
So for the people in this podcast who are not Christian, they're not going to understand that though, Corey. They're not going to see it from. Trust me, I'm
not Christian, so.
Good
point.
Okay.
You're not going to get what he's talking about then.
Yeah, I'm not understanding none of that.
Right.
But I will say this. So, and to that point, because I think one of the questions was, at what point, I guess, is it okay? Or the question earlier you asked was, at what point is it considered that the baby is alive, right? And I think you said earlier, right, on Christian values, it's during conception, right?
Yes.
But for those of us that aren't Christian, we don't subscribe to that, right? So I'm gonna default to science. So the general science consensus is 18 to 20 weeks, because that's when the development of the brain starts, right? And that's when the fetus is considered a sentient being, right? Where it can actually start feeling, you know what I mean? Because the brain is being developed between 18 and 20 weeks. So, and then again, that's the science consensus of when that baby is kind of starting to develop that awareness, right? So, again, I'm the policy guy, right? So, if there's something there, that's something, right? That's a measuring stick to be like, okay, if science is saying this is when the brain is developed, right? Because there was an example I was given just earlier today, right? Like if you're a donor, right? And let's say I'm a donor. If I pass on and I have maybe a liver that someone else could use. I can't see that screen is too small.
I know.
I can donate my liver, right? I could donate all these different organs and stuff like that, but if my brain is dead, I can't. There's nothing I could do to offer my brain somewhere, right? It's useless. And I am not alive, right? So that was an example that was given to me is at least that's some type of milestone to say, okay, the baby is a being at that point. For those of us that don't subscribe to Christian principles, you know what I'm saying? Because there are other viewers that are just not Christian. To answer that question, you were showing something. What was that you were showing?
I was. So because you said 4 to 5 months, but I was like, I'm pretty sure it's way before that. So around the 3rd week of conception, the neural groove closes to form the neural tube, which becomes the hindbrain, the midbrain, and the forebrain. And this develops the central nervous system. Babies feel pain at this exact moment, and by this time, they're still so tiny that the mom probably doesn't even realize she's pregnant yet. But by that time, she does figure it out that baby already has a central nervous system built up. Even if it's tiny, they can still feel. So when they
hence why doctors recommend women take folic acid to prevent spina bifida in the creation of the baby, even before it's conceived, because that's what helps that central nervous system. It's
taking
already taking folic acid.
It's a deep conversation.
It's deep.
It's getting all medical. I mean, shoot, we got some doctors up in here now, boy.
And to be respectful for the.
You said you didn't subscribe to the Christian principles, and I know that, so I brought it down to the science of what.
Yeah, I got you. No, I didn't say that.
No, I said that.
No,
I said that.
So he and I can have this conversation because we're that close to where we can disagree and still be friends and shake hands at the end of the day.
I would hope everyone on here could be adult enough to do something like that.
And also I think it's fair too. We do live in a country with religion freedoms, right? Because every viewer is not going to be a Christian. There's the believers of several different faiths, right?
Let me go ahead and qualify myself. I don't consider myself a Christian. I consider myself a spiritualist. I believe that Jesus Christ walked this earth and he is the Son of God, but I think Christianity is dangerous as hell. I don't prescribe to that.
Hey, so that's a different conversation.
That's a different
conversation.
conversation.
If you want to have that, we can have that on another
episode.
Yeah,
I'm just saying I don't prescribe to any religious sects, Baptist, Catholic, any of that stuff. I think all that's neither here nor there in this situation. But I like what she was saying about the children and things. She should have a right to believe what she wants to believe. That's the thing that's wrong with this country today, is people keep judging each other for their belief system. Now, if you truly believe in God, you shouldn't be trying to judge anyone. He's the ultimate judge of anybody's character on this earth. And after they pass on, they will be judged if you really believe in that. In that. So with that said, everybody, to me, I love you. I love everybody on here.
I love everybody.
I love everybody on here until you show me your ass, and then and then I'm like, oh, I can't mess with you no more. So that's just how I get down.
The question kind of comes down to the justice system. Why is the justice system, in one sense, use a human being as, oh, hey, you get a second murder charge on you? That's where our topic kind of came in. You get a second murder charge because this person was pregnant, but in this other case, no, don't worry about it. You can just kill off that baby and everything is okay. And this person, if they weren't pregnant, don't get a second murder charge. Like, why are they using it? It feels like
does everybody here prescribe to the fact that we're human beings of flesh and blood?
No, I'm a non-binary robot.
But I like that because I got some oil for you to sell there, so you can have your gears all nice and oiled up. But to be honest with you, I think that as human beings, we're going to make mistakes. And one thing I notice about the human condition, that power corrupts absolutely. So the fact of the matter is, we're going to have laws that are created to benefit certain people.
Yep.
And also, we're going to have laws created that are going to hurt certain people that they like to see a boot on their neck. You know what I'm saying? So with that said, these laws that we have, I tell my children, and this is what I tell them. This country is about money. It's about power. Not necessarily for you to prescribe to go out there and get money to be a jerk or an a-hole like they are, but you know the ultimate thing is to get your finances together. Do that so you can create your own utopia, your own civility, your own purpose in helping others. Because really, when it comes down to it, we are here on this earth to help each other. We are. That's what we're here to do. And until people can get with that norm, which they will not, this place will get hit by a meteor. It will all be gone. But there'll always be somebody on here trying to vie for power over others. And that's the reason why we got laws that you don't like. We got laws where babies can be terminated. We got people that don't want that. We got people that do want that. All I know is the right way is always going to be hard, and the easy way will always be negative and difficult.
Good point. Good point.
You said the right way will always be hard.
The right way of doing things is always going to be hard to people. They're always going to want to take the easy way out. That's all I'm saying.
But what I want to say to that is, complication builds character. You see what I'm saying? So
I agree with that.
I understand the reason why things are hard, because if it was easy, everybody would do it, right? But it's not, and that's one of the reasons why we're in this tiffle and tuffle about this country. However, I will say this. This is America. I won't live no other place else. PointBlankTheory.com. Because I want to be respectful to the fourth guest of the show, the fourth co-host of the show, which is the topics. And I don't want to shorten anybody's voice. So if anybody else has some more to talk on the make it make sense topic that Bobby brought to the air, feel free.
Such a hard one.
Yeah.
I just want to say,
go ahead.
I feel like women nowadays have an out for everything.
She said it.
Talk that talk, girl.
If they don't want to go to college, they marry a man that's going to be able to allow them to be stay-at-home moms
and open that boutique.
Exactly. If they don't want to have a baby, they can just simply get rid of it. If they want to go to college, they can apply for scholarships, and there's special scholarships specifically for women. If they want to get a job, they get preferential treatment because we got to stay diverse, and women are selected for positions for equal opportunity, right? Not that I'm saying that that is a bad thing, right? But earn it, right? You're gonna work a job. You're gonna develop your leadership skills. You're gonna learn how to have integrity. You're gonna learn how to work in a man's world realistically. But nowadays, it's like women can kind of just do whatever they want. When it comes to a relationship. We
have more choices than men do, right?
Yeah.
We have way more choices than men do.
And they always say, what the saying is, happy wife, happy life. That's not fair. So
it's happy
in
spouse,
our household, it's
happy
spouse, happy house. Exactly.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. Good point. Excellent points. Excellent points. Hey,
I'm a strong, independent woman, but I'm not a feminist.
All of us are. All of us are.
And
I know how to submit. I know how to take control, but I also know how to submit to my husband. But what we have a common understanding of is my husband has to be worth submitting to. A man has to be worth submitting to. So,
can you tell your family over there? Does she sound like me?
Sounds just like you.
From IG, Creative Native said abortion is used as a political divide, and murder, death of a child is used to imprison. To that point, I wanted to speak on that, right? Because we're kind of talking different lanes, right? And the legal case, right, is being used to Creative Native's point to imprison, right?
Yes.
That's one thing or realm, right? The I think the other lane when we start talking about like rights, because that's just I think a different lane, right? We're talking about the rights of women. When I think it's debatable, right? Because I found one thing, you found one thing. I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor. I think we leave that up to the professionals, right? As far as when they say when is the right time or wrong time, right? But I think to that point, right? There's a few things going on. One thing that I've always looked at was the 13th Amendment, right? Going back to the criminal stuff, right? I've always looked at, and again, I was gonna put my governance hat on. I finally got it this time, right?
That look
I put it on over these headphones, but I want to point this out, right? I'm looking at Section 1 of the 13th Amendment right here, and this is at the constitution.congress.gov, and it says Section 1, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude except as punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction, right? One thing I learned over the years was that was a legal loophole for slavery, right? Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude except as punishment for a crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, right? i.e., it's illegal to enslave you unless I convicted you of a crime, right? We got legal JAG right here. What happens in a lot of these prisons? What do they have these prisoners doing?
Big business now. Most prisons are Fortune 500 today.
They create license plates. They are the ones that actually install the
Road
lights
work
on the paddy wagons and the cop cars and the cop trucks and whatnot.
Road work, chain gangs.
Shawshank Redemption is a prime, movie for.
And that was set in the 1960s, and it's now 2024. It's still going on to this day.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's
legal slavery is what it is.
And it's a way for the prisoners to get out, right? But it's also a way for them to earn wages if they don't have family, if they don't have somebody that can send them money to their commissary. That's how they get their chanclas. That's how they get their noodles, and that's how they get their toothbrushes and whatnot.
You guys been watching Locked Up, huh? 60 Days In. So you guys getting this?
No, I worked.
Man.
4 years here at Bear
Sorry to say, some of us have actually had to deal with this for real. But
I see.
I had to get my TV shot every 6 months. I had to make sure my shit was clean.
Well, my sister worked at Bear County is what she's saying. So that's where she's coming that first
I worked
knowledge.
with the jails for 4 years.
I think I
worked dog watch. It was ugly.
I don't want to brush over one thing, but do you know that we're still the black people on here? Do you know they still consider us 1/3 human to this day? They've never amended that.
Never amended it. No,
doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me at all.
Before we go there, because that's good, Gmo, tell them what you want to tell them, because I feel it. For some reason, I think if it's like nanu, go ahead and talk to us.
Sam, everyone said it, right? It's free labor, right? So let's keep it 100. This country.
Well, it's cheap labor. They're getting paid, but they're getting paid like 12 cents.
I feel like Andy Dufresne.
Cheap labor. So we went from free labor to cheap labor. Can we agree on that? And the 13th Amendment gave you that right to do so. As long as I convict you, right, of a crime, I can now put you in servitude. That's what it says right here, servitude, right?
Well, they added that after slavery, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yep. They added that to the Constitution after slavery, knowing that they were going to free the captives, and then they made laws that, like vagrancy. I mean, they know a lot of people weren't gonna have money, so if you have a vagrancy law, next you know you're in a chain gang because you ain't got nowhere to live, and it's like, oh well, you're outside, we got to lock you up.
You picked
These
up
the same people who try to put people in jail for reading. If you read a book and learned how to read, they beat you and put you in prison.
Exactly, during Jim Crow.
Everyone is picking up what I was putting down, and I think Corey was picking up on that, right? Because right after slavery was abolished, they released the 13th Amendment, and it had that legal loophole, right? If I charge you as a criminal, I can put you back in servitude, aka slavery. Back to Creative Native's point, right? So if for those that haven't heard of the Black Codes, Dexter just pointed one of them out, right? Was the vagrancy.
Vagrancy law, yeah.
So Black codes are restrictive laws designed to limit the freedom of African Americans and ensure their availability as cheap labor force after slavery was abolished during Civil War. Though the Union victory had given some 4 million enslaved people their freedom, the question of free Black people's status in the post-war South was still very much unresolved. Under Black codes, many states require Black people to sign yearly labor contracts. If they refuse, they risk being arrested, fined, or forced into unpaid labor. Outrage over Black codes helped undermine support for President Andrew Johnson and the Republican Party. And he was making an excellent point, right? Let me stop sharing that. I'm a free you, right? But because of this one little loophole in the 13th Amendment, I already know I'm gonna make a lot of things illegal for you. You could not be homeless. If I catch you being homeless, guess what? I get to convict you of a crime and put you right back in servitude. Hey, if you make more money than a white person, that's against the law.
That's why a lot of the Black slaves that were freed decided to stay on the plantations, and it turned into sharecropping, where he would give you some land and he would just take 80% of what you grew, and you take 20% and also get the pleasure of living on his land.
Mm-hmm. And when they died out, then the land goes to the people who lived on the land, which that happened to my great grandmother.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So
I was born in Montgomery, Alabama, and raised here. I'm Southern born, West Coast raised. So they named me Dexter after Dexter Avenue, where Martin Luther King's father's first church was. I hated the name until I found that out.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I mean, and that was my answer to your question on why are we picking and choosing. As far in the legal lane, right? Trumped up charges, right? I'm gonna give you this extra charge because now I get to have you as cheap labor for a lot longer, right? Now I got you for cheap labor for 2 life sentences, pimping. Oh, you working for the cheap. I'm making money off of you. You know what I mean? And it's always been like that. It is what it is, to answer that question, right? And again, I wanted to point out the different lanes, because that was the more legal criminal lane. Now to the rights, abortion rights of it all, right? And you've heard me say it. I support the freedom of choice, right? And Dexter has said this a couple of times. We make mistakes, right? But to tie it all together, right? One thing that is true, at least especially in the Black communities, I saw this growing up in South Central. I was talking to a friend of mine who's from New Orleans. Not that much difference. In New Orleans, the only difference between South Central and New Orleans, they got better accents. You know what I mean? When they hit us,
and they got hurricanes.
And they got
we
hurricanes.
got earthquakes.
I'm sorry, New Orleans projects is a little bit more war zoney than the ones out here in Cali. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, of course.
I bet.
I tell you what, that was the first time I seen people carrying like semi-automatic weapons for no reason. It was like, it's just, what are you doing? But anyway, I say that to say, right, it started with, slavery and then the Black codes. Fast forward, we talked about it briefly last week, the school to prison pipeline. It is a thing, right? And the biggest reason why I am an advocate for that freedom of choice is because what we share, the Black code, slavery, stuff like that, the Black community, we're still recovering from not having our dads there. We have not had our fathers there to help raise these women and give them the confidence they need. We got strong Texas women here, right? But I think that's evident of having male role models around that are positive, right? From some form of fashion, maybe, right? And if not, you may have experienced some of what we've seen a lot in the hood, right? Why do we have gangbangers? Help me out, people.
All right.
You don't want me to tell you why?
Hold on. Let me give it to you from somebody who who the gangsters was like, no, Corey, don't be part of this. All right. So one, my cousin, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say his name because sometimes he watches the show.
Yeah, we got him.
He thick in the 90s. He was from neighborhood. Still, he don't claim it, but if he go over in the 90 neighborhood crib, they know who he is. And the reason being because my uncle, his dad lived in Texas. But he came out here with my auntie when he was like 2 years old. And my auntie wasn't having it. She was like, I'm a single, strong, independent woman.
Mm-hmm.
Raised him. However, just like growing up in the 80s, latchkey kid. And then you latchkey kid, you find your tribe. You know what I'm saying? Instead of going straight home, you find the guys that's going to the liquor store, you hang out with them. You ain't got much, but they got much because they big brother been on the corner selling crack. So they're like, I got you here. Boom. You want a pickle? Here's a quarter. You can get a pickle and some lollipop back in the day for that, right? But
Hey, now for real.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I'm 58, so you know I know.
Exactly. So if somebody go
gee.
ahead and show you something like that, you know what I'm saying? You see him in a scuffle with a couple of guys, that's your man's. You feel you gotta do something because of the fact that he took care of you when you was hungry. So you go ahead and get in there with him. Next thing you know, you walking with them, you mobbing with them, and like, hey, you part of the hood. We gotta put you on just so.
Yeah, that's why. That's how. Yeah, I jumped into one of them fights, and that's the reason why I didn't have to fight nobody, because I got into a fight and handled my business because somebody tried to jump somebody, and they was like, "Man, we like you, Dex. That's what's up." The next thing you know, I was in there. You know,
Right.
I'm riding with them now. So,
Right.
Would you say someone who may not have a father there is a bit more susceptible to joining the gang?
way more, because you see a lot of father figures in some of these older gangbangers or OGs.
Yeah.
You know, well, I tell you what, Al Capone said it best. He was asked, would he rather be like to be feared or respected? And I know you've seen this in other movies like The Bronx Tale and all that. And that's an old thing. Everybody would like to be feared because you don't get the respect from the fear. But most people would like to be respected straight out. But just like anything else, man, when you show kindness, people take that for weakness. I don't care how small or how big you are. If you're really nice and everything, they think you soft. So they try to take advantage of you. So that's why everybody out there is pretty aggressive. You know, they're aggressive when they drive. They're aggressive when they meet you. And the people who are usually super, super nice, there's something that they're hiding. I'm telling you. Every time I've ever met somebody, they've been so cool. Oh, damn, they seem so nice. Turn out to be some of the worst people because I think it's a front.
Yeah,
so a lot of
and you made an excellent point. Let me hold on real quick, Corey, because I do want to be respectful of the fourth host, right? Let me get through this, and then we'll move along. So
please do.
You made an excellent point, and you asked us earlier, do we all agree we're human, right? We do make mistakes, and I think what we pointed out was how without that male father figure, right, positive figure, men, we can get lost and we could be misguided, right? And I think it's safe to say it's also true for women, right, and the girls, right? I've seen plenty of times in the hood, right, where the fathers weren't there. So a lot of our women, girls, they're trying to fill that void, right? And that's how they end up getting pregnant by mistake, because they were taken advantage of for someone who was like, oh, you ain't got no dad? Okay, let me take advantage of the situation. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
Hold on, Amanda speaking.
Are you specifically saying about like black women?
Not necessarily black women. I mean, we come from a black community, South Central Los Angeles, right? So I can only really speak on
black women.
It happens to white women too.
I can't speak on that experience because that's not my experience. I can only speak for the black communities that I came from. And hold that thought, because I'm gonna also share some because I told you the governance hat is strong with this one. So we gonna show some of this data, right? And I wanted to take that journey of going through the black codes and whatever's keeping the black fathers away from being there for their black children, especially the girls, right? They're vulnerable for teen pregnancies, because that's what I've seen, right? So pay attention right here. So this is coming from who are we coming from? This is the Annie Casey Foundation, right? So this is showing you the data of single parent families in different communities, right? What I want to point out is, for some reason, it tends to be higher for African American communities in the United States, right?
Well, look where they have us living, man.
My point exactly, right?
We come up hard. Our environments are always rough. That's why they're always talking about us making it out. Why the hell
Two
we
or
gotta
more
always be
races.
making it out?
What
You know what I
you say,
mean?
Dr. Poole?
I was just looking at the 2 or more races. I guess technically that would be me. Now it's cool. They got to. Before I had to pick either one or the other, either black or white. You know, now it's like
You know, now you could be both. So I wanted to show the numbers, right? Because I didn't want to just be like, oh yeah, our black fathers aren't there. I just wanted to show it, and I don't think it's because we don't want to be there. We want to be there. I think a lot of us are able to be there now, but I think it's a phenomenon, right? To where we have not been able to be around because of certain situations stemming from the Black Code, Jim Crow law, stuff like that, right? Which it leaves our girls and women vulnerable for being taken advantage of, right?
Do you see it getting better as time goes on?
not in California.
Yes, I do, because of the fact that
It's economics.
because it's economics, right?
I think economics plays the biggest part in it because I think, like I said, it happens in the white community too, because there are a lot of poor white people out there, whether people realize this or not. And the statistics are always going to show us in a negative light. Just like the statistics don't show that there are more white people on public assistance than there are black people.
The numbers don't lie right here. So, I mean, just numbers wise, right? It's showing that there are more, white families with single parent families here, right? 7 million versus 5 million in the black community. However, that is the majority. So there will always be more of, white people in the statistic numbers because there's more of them, right? But the percentage, even though it's more, than the black community, is still only 24% within that community, right?
Gotcha.
Whereas even though it's less here, 5 million in the black community, it's 63%.
Where all the dads at? Half of them are incarcerated.
They are.
There you go.
Go for it.
If not, I'm sure it's about 60% of fathers getting phone calls from and to prison. Trying to talk to their children. It's hard to be a father to your child if you're behind the wall.
Or dead.
Exactly.
Or dead. You ain't no coming back from that.
There's not. Because you also have to look at it. I don't know if we got the statistics. It's and maybe I shouldn't go here, but I could go here. So I'm just gonna drop it in there real quick and then I'm gonna back out. We know law enforcement has a strong play on our community, the black male community, because of the fact that we see it we see it a lot. We see that, you know what I'm saying? We see that we're a threat to them before they get to know us. Law enforcement.
Or you were teeing me up for stuff I wanted to show.
You know what I'm saying?
Thank you very much.
Slave catchers.
You know what I'm saying? It's like we look. I mean, not so much us. I would say the fat, black, and handsome. I would say more so. You know what I'm saying? The young, black, and tall. Dreadlocks, whatever the case may be. Procter and Gamble has this commercial.
Let me read this to your point real quick, Corey, to your point. So to just keep us on subject, to your point, right? Okay. What is the school to prison pipeline? And real quick, this is from the ACLU. I forget the acronym, but it is, matter of fact, let me go back.
American Civil Liberties.
There you go.
Africa, civil liberties.
So the school to prison pipeline refers to school discipline practices such as suspensions and referrals to law enforcement that funnel youth out of the public education and into the juvenile and criminal legal systems. This trend reflects our country's prioritization of incarceration over education and is made worse as resources for public schools are decreased. From inadequate resources for counseling to an over-reliance on school-based police officers, to your point, Corey, to enforce harsh zero-tolerance policies, many students, overwhelmingly students of color and students with disabilities, are isolated, punished, and pushed out of our education system for adolescent mistakes that adolescents will make. You go to jail if you just so happen to be in one of these communities versus getting the counseling and help that you might need, right? But go ahead, Corey.
So, I'm trying to grab my thought that I had. Procter and Gamble has this commercial that I saw in the Super Bowl, right? And they have an image of a woman, a black woman who's pregnant and carrying a baby, holding a baby, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then there's another young man who's walking up to this house, and he looked dreaded out, right? But then another scene came, and it's this man coming to pick up the girl who's pregnant with the baby, and it's the father. And so the father comes, hugs his wife because they're married. They show the ring, they show the daughter. He was going to get the car. I'm assuming the way they played it, he was going to get the car to pick her up from the doctor's office. The man going into the door in another scene, going to his daughter's birthday party with gifts and stuff, hugging everybody, which is a big family. So what they said was at the end of the commercial, we need to widen the lens of what we see.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, based off of what these statistics, these pipeline situations, history, because every 2-3 years there's a Trayvon Martin, there's a Arbery, there's a George Floyd, right? We need to widen the lens for those in power to not be in fear of us, because God forbid, and I'm gonna say this and we can go there afterwards, if one individual gets in office and just take away the fact that everybody who has power, a police officer doesn't get incriminated for killing somebody, that right there will cause mayhem. You don't want to live in a country of fear.
I do think that'll definitely be a good discussion, but we should have an episode on that. But sticking back to the whole abortion thing, right? So I wanted to draw all of that out because again, we're kind of traveling in two different lanes: criminal law versus rights, right? Where we took that journey down to criminal law. Well, I believe to your question, they're using the fetus to trump those charges up to get more cheap labor, right? On the other hand, the reason why I'm always an advocate for that freedom of choice is because we know in our hoods, a lot of times girls don't have that guidance of their fathers for whatever reason. Maybe they were taken out, got lost to crime, whatever, right? Now let that girl have that baby, right? And she did not have the proper support. 9 times out of 10, that baby's gonna end up in that prison to school or school to prison pipeline. We've seen it. We've seen it. You see it, Cora. You said it last week that you see it, right? So now it comes down to, is that what we really want? Do we want to continuously let these girls that are not able to have those fathers because of our system that's still being fixed? Do I see change? You asked that earlier, Bobby. Little, incremental. It's ridiculous how slow the progress is, right? Because it's still there. It's still happening. We're still having misguided teenage girls in the hood getting pregnant and those babies ending up in the school to prison pipeline. I'm not seeing much difference of how I saw it when I was born, right? Because my mom struggled through that situation, and I know several other people. And stop me if you haven't heard this before, to where if you got a child that's acting up, right, because the father wasn't there, the schools are real quick to put them on all those drugs for ADHD. Ain't nothing wrong with that kid. The kid just needed a father to smack him up and get him back on track a little bit, right? But then once you start altering those brain chemicals, right?
You start implementing medicine instead of mentoring, prescriptions instead of counseling. That's where that pipeline becomes real. Because again, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna debate this, and Amanda, I know you had your hand raised. So
I didn't see it. Sorry.
I'm gonna let her. I'm gonna show her respect because she is a guest. Amanda,
go ahead, Amanda.
So this is a really touchy, I guess, topic for me. I don't know if Bobby's ever shared any detailed information about our life, and I know we're all just kind of sitting here quiet and listening to you guys, but you know, we're statistics too from, you know, being raised
in the hood.
In the hood, you know, we didn't have our
predominantly black neighborhood.
We got daddy issues. I was personally a teen mom at 17 years old.
Our mom was a second. If y'all didn't know,
I personally feel that everything that anybody goes through in life is a decision, right? Mm-hmm. You have to make the choice yourself to do better, raise up your kids right, whether you're a teen mom or not. I didn't have, the best support. I was by myself. I've worked since the age of 15. We had a mother that was, a very high functioning drug addict. I didn't have my dad from the age of 12 and up or 13 and up. So at the end of the day, whether you're black or white, Mexican, whatever you are, right? Everyone has problems. There's issues that a lot of people come from. So I hate to say it, but I feel like a lot of what comes out of, I guess, the black community is maybe an excuse, because we all, at the end of the day, everybody has issues, What makes it any different for me, other than I got out, I hustled, I worked, I'm a successful woman now. My son, he was a statistic of a teen mom, but you know what? He's number 10 in his class out of almost 800 students in school. He just received a presidential scholarship to UIW here in San Antonio. You know what? And he had it hard because I went from one relationship to another. Exactly what Corey was saying about the whole being on medication and whatever, they try that, but you know what? I was a mom that stood up for my son. We did therapy, we talked about it, and he is an awesome young man now.
That's good.
So it just breaks my heart to know that people use certain things as an excuse when they need to get their asses up and do what they got to do to make things right in their life and stop being a statistic and breaking those generational curses.
I appreciate, I really appreciate what you're saying. But I got to disagree with it. Now, I understand my mother is a firm believer in a lot of my people with my skin tone and how sometimes what happens with us is, man, I got to let you know this. It's so hard sometimes on us psychologically that people just give up. You gotta live in these shoes before you can say that. I know you're a Caucasian lady, and I know you probably had a rough time coming up. I've known plenty of white people that was poor as fuck, but they also used to tell me, I have one thing that you don't have, that I have the skin color. I can always use that as a parachute. I feel like black people are like Wile E. Coyote. When we jump out the fucking plane, Bugs Bunny to put plates and knives and shit in our parachute versus the actual parachute being there. So we're gonna hit the ground. The only thing is, when we hit the ground, we gotta get up and walk. We can't die. We have to get up and walk. I was on the brink of homelessness myself, but now I have a podcast studio. I have 20,000 fans. I ain't gonna call them fans. I sound like a complete idiot when I say that, but subscribers on TikTok. I got almost 12,000 on YouTube. The only way that you can get out of what you got going on is to put your mind right, just like you said. But ask yourself, if you had been in the same circumstances that you grew up in and you was this color, how do you think you would have came out of it? I hear you saying, of course, a lot of black people use this as a crutch. Right. Some of them use it so much as a crutch that their legs actually stop working.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you just feel so effing defeated all the time. Let's just say you're doing well and you're catching the bus and you just have to be walking home one day and the cops pull you over. And I know no white guys ain't gonna get pulled over like that. And if you go home with that misnomer every day that you might walk outside your door, and not just a gang member will kill you, the people who with the badges on that's supposed to take care of you if something go down might kill you. You have to wake up and deal with that every day and then go to some job where they're looking for, even though you got hired, somebody blessed you to get hired on that job, but somebody's in there that's not black, that don't want you to succeed, is trying every chance they get to trip you up. Did you get those pallets taken? Did you get that paperwork? It's very tough. I hear people talk about it and bitch about it all the time. But just like you said, all you got to do is just keep trying your best. And that's why people need to be praying, because that's the only thing that's going to be able to really help you, is you go out and do things, but you also keep a spiritual journal with the Almighty about what you're trying to accomplish. That's the only reason why I'm here talking to you right now. I was blessed I was blessed. I will say that to the day I die. You can have your opinion. Oh, I don't believe in God. Be an atheist. Do whatever you want to do. Because at the end of the day, we all gonna get judged for how we lived in this life. And one thing I know is if I didn't turn to him, I would be on the street and we would be having this conversation.
Oh yeah.
Like,
And we got a question too from IG. So we're going to use the color of skin to downgrade someone's struggle. I don't think that's what we're doing. I think we're trying to reach a understanding, right? Because I've heard that too. You're using it as an excuse. Not necessarily. I'm the product of a teen mom. My mom had me at 17, and actually, my mom was one of those girls that got taken advantage of. My father at the time was married, had a whole different family, and he ran game on her, right? She didn't know he was married with another family, and I was the result of that. I had no father growing up. You know what I'm saying? So, and my father is Mexicano. So
and look at you. Your mom chose life for you, even though she knew that. Good for her.
And it was a struggle. So, and we started out on welfare. We started out on welfare too, because a lot of these kids that are born to these type of moms will be on welfare just like we were. Now, fortunately for her, she was like Amanda. She was able to eventually work her way out of that, and we were able to get off of welfare. But sometimes you can get stuck in that trap. Like, hey, what did Andre 3000 them say? And them said it's that they call it the trap because you stuck, right? You get trapped. Not everyone is gonna be able to condition their brain to be as strong as you, Amanda, or my mom, or other women that figure it out, right? And just a correction, the sisters here, they're Mexicana, right? They look fair complected, but and the percentage for the Hispanic community for that show was 42%. So it's not that far behind the 63% that's in the Black community.
A lot of Hispanics understand that too. They understand that they're considered the new ninjas, if you know what I mean. You know, a lot of Hispanics are considered the new ninjas now. You know, so Doc, you had something you were going to say.
Go ahead, Doc.
Well, just while we're talking about families and upbringings and whatnot, you know, I have a cool platform to go off of because I got half Black and half white. So I know what both y'all sides is talking about. So my mom had me when she was 19. She had sex with a Black guy, didn't know him, it was a one-night stand. She decided to keep me or whatever. And because my mom is white and she came from, her side of the family is from Biloxi, Mississippi. Super racist white people. She got disowned by the majority of her family for giving birth to a half-Black baby. So we spent the first year and a half, 2 years, she spent going from shelter to shelter and staying with whoever she could stay with. And then eventually she found her footing in a way. You know, she got on welfare too and got food stamps, but she got off of it. And, you know, she spent her whole life struggling to raise me. And she's lived in the same, you know, hoods that I've, you know, she lives in the hoods and whatnot. So she has that kind of toughness to her as far as, you know, growing up, not necessarily surrounded by her own people, you know. So anyways, I say all this because, like, it would have been helpful to have a father figure around for me. There are certain things that happened to me in my life, you know, at a young age where it just would have been helpful to have a man there. But it was one of those situations where my mom chose not to go and destroy another man's family because, like you, Geronimo, he was an older man, had already had kids. Like, I got brothers and sisters, technically, you know. Now, I don't even know who my father's name is, though, so I could never even find these people. But I had to learn so many lessons the hard way. You know, I could talk about so many things you're talking about. You guys were talking about gang banging earlier. You know, when I was growing up, not having a father figure I needed, and being an only child, I relied on having friends. If I didn't have friends, I probably would have been one of those psychos. So I've always been good at having friends, but I've always had to go somewhere and whatnot, you know. So when I got to high school and I started becoming more of a hardhead towards my mother started deciding to kick me out so she could have her space or whatever. And so for a teenager not having too many places to go, I would find myself crashing in people's houses. Geronimo, I crashed at your house for a couple of weeks. You know, Andre, I crashed at his house for a couple of weeks. And one guy lived in Compton. I ended up staying with him.
Kindred spirits, bro.
And they gave me a place to stay in Compton. And I started hanging out with those people in Compton. And it was just like you said, they were going around and trying to put people on the hood. I had already been part of a fraternity, and so I, felt that brotherhood there and got that love. And being part of the track and field team, I felt that love there
Instead
too.
of stepping, y'all was bussing.
Yeah, and I was only in school though. It's like outside of school, it was different. And my grandfather did a good job when he finally did accept me in setting an example for me, because I didn't know about this. I was too young to understand. So when I first met my grandfather,
this was your Caucasian granddad?
Yeah, I only know the white side of my family. I don't know any part of the black side of my family at all.
What softened him towards you think?
I think time. Ultimately, probably time. I think maybe he saw he had a chance to. My family is my mother's side is very dysfunctional. My grandmother was married 4 different times, so my mom's got a bunch of brothers and sisters that are half brothers and sisters and whatnot. So super dysfunctional. My mom, she got disowned by her family and was like, her story is tough. It's tough for white people too. But I say all of this to say that, there's not too much of a difference when it comes to struggle, when it comes to race. It's a matter of, like you said, Amanda, how you pull yourself out of it. But like you fellas say, it's a product of your society as well. There are some places where you don't have that opportunity to pull yourself up. I mean, we live in big cities and states. You look at those little small Midwestern states where people are doing good for themselves and just can't get out of that bubble and succeed and become something more than what they are,
Imagine growing up as a black person in a sundown town where you can't even be outside or in certain parts of town at 6 o'clock. We catch you out. That's still going on to this day. I just gotta say, people that's not this color, or let me put you this way, even the people from Africa, from all those countries, and by the way, some people are idiotic to not even realize Africa is a continent with several countries in it. So that just kills me when I talk to people and they don't know that. But they don't even want to accept us because we're bastards to Africa.
Yep.
That's what one dude said to me. A lot of he was from Uganda. He said, "You guys are bastards to Africa. You have no home. You have no homeland." And I was like, "Damn, bro, come on now." But he's right. Listen, a lot of
you're born and raised in the United States of America. This is your homeland. You are American. This is your homeland.
Well, tell that to the American Indians. I bet you they beg to differ. Anybody come to your country and tell you this plot of land right here, nothing even grows here. This is where y'all reservation gonna be. You feel some type of way about that.
Real quick, Dexter, to tie what you just said back to Bobby's whole make it make sense, right? Because it was the topic of, picking and choosing with the abortion thing, right? So I only lay this out just to show that in certain communities, there may be higher probabilities of the fathers not being there. That was the only point. That was the main.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry to take it there.
You're good. But because I don't want to, I think we got topics for more discussions later, right? But I had shared this, and again, right, the brown community is not that far behind the black community, right? And to Donald's point, a struggle is a struggle is a struggle. However, if you have a higher probability of your father not being there, you may be susceptible to more of those struggles. That's all I'm saying, right? It's a probability and numbers game. Numbers don't lie. Women lie, men lie, but numbers don't lie.
Numbers never lie, yeah.
They
can be skewed, but they don't lie.
They don't lie. In certain
Can I ask a question?
Catch up. Go ahead.
Have y'all ever heard of a lady by the name of Margaret Sanger?
Oh, I most definitely have. That's the lady who created Planned Parenthood.
Oh. What was the purpose of Planned Parenthood?
Well, it was actually
population control.
It was actually about us more than it was anybody else. It was about controlling the black population from having children.
And what did the government tell black women when they got pregnant?
If they didn't marry the father, they would get more money.
We'll give you money. We'll give you money. That's where Section 8 and all of that stuff came from.
What broke the black family.
It did, because you couldn't have a black man couldn't be in the home or they would take that money away.
Because it didn't used to be like that. Black families used to be together until women started getting incentivized by
wearing suits and everything. Wearing suits. Kids will go to school in suits and shine their shoes.
Let me say something.
Let
me say something though. All those are good, but here's the thing: all those things were to make life easier for us, right? There was a catch-22. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I mean, when I say that, when I say make it easy, like Section 8, that was supposed to make it easier on the lady so she can be able to have a place to stay, right? I'm the reason why I'm saying that is it's government assistance is what it is. It's assistance. It's not a way of life.
Yeah, we've all lived on it.
You know what I'm saying?
Me, my sisters,
But
we grew up on
me too.
government
Me too.
assistance.
My mama was.
We needed it for our own.
We had.
See, she brought that up, Corey. No disrespect to you, bro, but she brought that up to say anything that is created in this country, when it, in regards to its populace, the powers that be, and we could. Anybody that we see in government, from Kamala Harris to Donald Trump or any of those senators, those not the motherfuckers that's running this country, okay? There are people that are behind them. When they talk about shadow governments, that's what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. Those are the real people, the money people, the money people. They're the ones saying, we got to keep this race down. We can't let, that's where redlining comes from, right. And all of these different things. And when she brought up Margaret Sanger, everybody has their own opinions of us. And those opinions are that we are subhuman, regardless of, but we good enough to be slave labor and also suckle your children. That never made me, I never could understand that. If you think she's an animal, why is the baby hanging onto her titty?
Good point. And we got a comment from IG too. We got a comment from IG, and this is from Creative Native. Planned Parenthood was implemented on the reservations first before they brought it to the public.
That's true. That's right.
So I mean, there's been communities targeted, right? And again, for every, I would say, probably pain and struggle that I've seen in our communities, Black and brown communities, I can only imagine how it's multiplied on the reservations. Because you made that point earlier, right? So where I can't even try to fathom that struggle. You know what I'm saying? So to wrap this up, it's all good points, right? At the end of the day, though, when it comes down to it, we all, I think, here have some form of experience with welfare and those type of programs, which I think. If you come from those communities that have a high probability of not having that support, right? Not having that male figure, whether if it's being pushed on you, hey man, you can have this, but the man can't be there. You know what I mean? For whatever reason, it's happening, right?
And experience, don't forget, and experiencing racism, because it comes from the other side as well. I could give y'all plenty of examples.
I feel like Hollywood Squares. I'm gonna tell you right now, the Secret Square lady is dope. I freaking love you. You are amazing.
She's on it. So, and that's just, it's just a vicious cycle, right? Because I've always been fascinated with this conversation of the abortion rights, right? But at the same time too, I also hear a lot of people that are pro-choice that don't want people to be relying on the government for aid, right? Because it's gonna happen, right? For all those girls in those hoods, right? The marginalized areas of our country, they will be on those programs, right?
They made it to where there's no choice. You have to be on it. You have to be on it. What else? What other choice do you have unless you win the lottery?
Exactly. So
you guys, I'm sorry to say this, but I'm gonna have to take off. I'd like to say thank you to everybody for letting me even be in this conversation. I hope I wasn't too overbearing or too dominant in my opinions.
Thank you for joining, Dexter. We appreciate your opinion.
No problem. And please subscribe to the Corner Store Television YouTube and TikTok. Corner Store Television with a K, as you can see behind me. YouTube and TikTok channels, please. Thank y'all so much. You are all very, very intelligent and wonderful people. God bless each and every one of you. Corey, you know you're my man, 50 grand all day long, my man. I'll be seeing you real soon. And shout out to everybody. And thank y'all so much. God bless each and every one of you.
All right, Dex.
All right, y'all have a good evening.
Do the same, bro. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you, brother.
Good conversation, though. Good conversation. So I think there's still more conversations that need to be had to make it make sense on both sides, right? But I think continuance. Say what?
So it'll be a continuance because there's different pipelines that this can go down. We'll just have to kind of take it layer by layer.
Layer by layer. But shout out
like
to
an onion.
for making it out of that struggle. You remind me of my mom. This when you were sharing your story, it reminded my mom because she had to figure it out. FAFO, baby. You know what I mean? And you figured it out. And someone else said it in here. It did. No, I think it was you, Bobby. It did make me stronger because I was able to, I was with her during that struggle, right? So it
out of that struggle is how we all built character. This is why we and my sisters and myself all think the way that we do.
That's what I was about to say.
We all been in that struggle and it sucks. It sucks. But through that character built resiliency. So when we've come across those issues in our life, because we had that foundation of our salvation, we knew where our resource was. And yes, it sucked, but all of us came together and we pulled each other through. There were a couple of times where Sam lived with me. There was a couple of times I went to Amanda for food. Like, it's just, we struggled in it together, but we all made each other better. So
and
we didn't judge each other. Came through.
What I wanted to say what I wanted to say was, it was complicated, but I also meant when I say complicated, I mean that in a way of complications build character. Yeah. All of us are able to be on this call right now because of the fact that we've been through complicated situations, but we excelled through it. Gmo, you excelled. Donald, you excelled.
Only because my mom chose not to kill me as a baby when she had me by herself. She could have done that. She probably could have had an easier life, man, but
right.
She didn't.
Donald, I'm glad you're here.
Yep.
Yeah. I gotta thank my mom now. I've got to call my mom when I get off this.
Right? No, for real. You know what I'm saying? My story is a little bit different. My mom had me by accident. My dad and her was separated. She didn't even know that she was carrying me, and she told me the story when she told her mom. She was like, I don't know what you're gonna do, but she decided to keep it. You know what I'm saying? And because of that, you know what I'm saying, I'm the first one in my family to buy a home. I'm the first one in my family to start our own business. You know what I'm saying? No, I didn't graduate from college, but I did graduate from trade school. You know what I'm saying? I was able to accomplish these things because of the fact that even though my environment was hard and the complications of what the situation was, it built character. Hardness built character. And you know what I'm saying? So just to tie this back up, because I know we about to get off, you know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna apologize to the topic. Please forgive me. You know what I'm saying? But I want to say
it was
this.
Getting good though, man. We had to.
It was. And these are conversations that need to be had.
Yep.
Because of the fact that if we don't talk about it, everybody will still have that opinion about, oh, this is how they are, and this is how they are. No, it's not they no more. It's we.
It's us.
Hey, can we go back to talking trash about Drake? You know, that guy, man, he's messing it up for the light skins like me, man. You know? Us half black and half white. I already had a hard enough time trying to prove myself to the black community that I am a black man. You know what I'm saying? Solid, a real. And this guy comes around from fucking Canada and he's fucking it up for the rest of us, man. You know, like.
Hey, I feel that because I remember when I was growing up, man, I wasn't black enough. I wasn't Mexican enough. Like,
you know what I'm saying?
I feel that.
Yeah. So he's not even black. He's Jewish, man. Why are they lumping?
Man, I got some hate.
We love Jewish people.
Yes. We do. We love all. Yeah. All of it. We just don't like Drake.
Yeah.
He not like us.
Sorry, that was all.
It's all good. So hey,
did Amanda get offended about the Drake situation? Because she just bounced.
I think she had her babies she had to get to.
She had to take off. But hey, good conversation though, because I think to your point, right? I think, oh man, and Amanda jumped off too. But she said something, right? When she was talking about the excuses, right? I think a lot of times, and I will always say this, is hard to understand someone else and where they're coming from if you don't attempt to wear their lens, right? Because I've heard that a lot. The whole, you're using it as an excuse. Not necessarily. I'm just using it to show a point, right? To where some people may be more susceptible than others, right? And it is what it is. And I would encourage just anyone listening to listen to your neighbor, right? If you got a neighbor, back to that original story that prompted this, that young lady, she did everything she was supposed to do, right? When I read that story, before her husband stabbed her several times, and that the legal system failed her, is what it said.
Oh yeah, no, I saw that too. I was like, okay, there's red flags right there with that dude.
And I don't think we can always rely on just the law, enforcement people. Sometimes we should be able to rely on our neighbors, right? If I'm your neighbor and I'm telling you a pain that I'm having, don't kind of brush my pain off. Listen to me. You know what I mean? Just like you might want me to listen to you and try to at least empathize with your pain, right? Because if we can't try to empathize with each other, to try to understand a little bit where you came from and your struggles that you dealt with, like you share some stuff on it. Damn, that's fascinating. Certain things I can't say that I'm gonna go through because I am not a female, right? So I have to listen to you and push the believe button when you're telling me this is the pain you experienced and this is why you experienced, right? So I think this conversation just opens it up for us to have more conversations, to understand each other better, empathize with each other better, and maybe grow. You know what I mean? So that's my takeaway from this discussion.
I think it would be fair to say too that Dexter brought up a point where he kind of brushed off the struggle because our skin was lighter than his, where I'm like, well, if we came from, not necessarily coming from the same environments, but if we had the same struggle, what made this person coming out of it different than yours? And immediately he threw that card out there, like, oh, you're lighter, you're lighter skin. I'm like, well, no, maybe we just had a different mindset. It had nothing to do with our skin color, because we've known Black people come from struggle and have come out of it and been successful people.
Right.
Yeah.
What made it a skin color issue? Why has it got to go there?
Well, just to be honest with you, it happens.
It does happen.
Like, it even happens within blacks and blacks. Blacks, we have those. Like, if you're light skinned, you're more likely to get the better position at a job as a Black person. If you guys apply, I did my bad. But if you apply for the same job, like McDonald's, the light skinned person may be the person in the front because they look a lot better because of the fact that they're
I found out about this in the Army by another guy. He got so much crap from some other dude, and this other dude was darker than him. And I'm like, yo, man, why y'all beefing with each other so much? And he ends up telling me, he's just giving me shit because I'm lighter than him. I was like, y'all both Black. I don't understand what the problem is. And he said there was a lot of hate in Black communities where if your skin is lighter, that means you got white in you. And I'm like, so this Black guy's racist against this other Black guy? He's like, well, it's not like that.
Not even. Let me give you a prime example.
It just don't make sense. Make that make sense.
I'm about to break it down for you. All right. Have you heard of what's the girl who sing "It's Just One Thing"? It's just one thing that got me tripping.
A-Marie. Yeah.
A-Marie and Beyonce came out around the same time. A-Marie browner than Beyonce. Mm-hmm. A-Marie more talented than Beyonce. She writes her own music. Beyonce has a team. But on the surface level, Beyonce is who she is today. Beyonce. A-Marie was the Beyonce in Japan. And why? Because, one, of her skin tone. Number two, because of the fact that they thought they were equally talented, but they did not realize A-Marie is more talented than her, but it's the lighter skin. India Arie, Alicia Keys, same thing. Which name do you know more of? They came out the same time. Alicia Keys. But India Arie, beautiful, popular, very, very, and very great. I Am Not My Hair was better than Fallen. However, Alicia Keys is out there.
I'm laughing because we got a comment from IG. Creative Native said I'm darker than Gmo, Corey, and Dr. Poole, so they don't know anything. Dex trainer.
He is black ass. Yo, charcoal ass nigga.
We can't use the N-word, bro. Oh, bro, we go.
Sorry.
148, 140,
It's
okay,
ninja.
147, 147.
That out.
Okay, Zemo camera that turned off.
I don't need to be cut off. See what
All right,
you
man,
did,
let's-
Donald? I can't even show my camera no more. Wrap
What,
us
man?
up,
These
boy.
Wesley Snipes getting on here trying to talk trash, man. Yo, Eddie Murphy, Black.
Why didn't
Yo,
Creative Native come in here? Creative Native should have come in here.
it's a good thing my camera went off because I'm blushing like a mug right now, boy.
All right, Bobby, wrap it up.
Wrap
It's
us
time to
up.
wrap it up. Yeah, Bobby, go ahead, take us there. Take us to the motherland.
All right, folks. You know how it goes. Thanks a lot for joining us today on Facebook, YouTube, IG. We appreciate you. You can catch me, Bobby Lopez, on Facebook at Bobby Lopez or at IG, Bobby.Lopez.5. Again, it's your girl, Bobby with an I, not a Y, because a Y is for a guy. Corey, out to you, man. Where can they find you at?
They can find me at Corey Giovanni everywhere. YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. And I'm back on X, so holla at your folk, man, and on Threads. Dr. Pooh, talk to us. Let them know where they can find you, brother.
Instagram, Facebook, DR Pool. Hit me up.
No doubt. And
All your
Sam,
full services.
we thank you for having us.
Sam, where can
Yeah.
I guest find you?
But in the meantime,
Yes.
in between time, where can we find you, Sam? Talk to us.
I'm only on IG, so it's Sammy J Perez, Sammy with the I, not a Y.
Because the Y is for a guy.
Boy, God.
The Y is for a guy.
Hey.
And then LinkedIn. I'm a professional, so I'm on LinkedIn. Samantha Perez. It's
Okay.
E, not a S. It's Perez, not Perez. Okay.
My sister is a veteran too. So
Hey.
November Veterans
Yeah.
Month. Shout out.
Shout out to the vets. Shout out to the vets.
Shout out.
And Gmo with the no cam, man.
It always cuts out right at the end. So I'm telling you, it's Dr. Pooh, man. He cursed me. But anyway, you can find me on all platforms except TikTok because I don't do TikTok. I am #Von_Go. Holla at me if you got questions about the show. And it's a wrap. Episode 26. Thank you, Sam, for joining us.
Whoa. Before you go, please like, comment, subscribe, hit that share button, and turn on the bell.
Yes, do that. And we are out.